We'll probably call this like one world or two perspectives. How about that? What do you think?
Yeah.
They treat you too well then Storrington, mate. I think they need to cut back on some of those benefits they give you, my friend.
Amen.
Is it amen? Yeah, okay, not a problem at all. I'll speak to Peter.
I just say amen to stop you talking sometimes.
But yeah, I think you know what we want to do. I think is just kind of bring people into maybe some of the conversation that we have. You know,
Yeah.
You know, allow it to be raw. I think it's important at the moment for perspective, and I think one of the reasons that we want to record this video and maybe just our conversation is to give perspective. Now, we don't come from a place of knowing it all.
Yeah.
We don't have answers to the problem that face our world or the problem of racism. No, we don't. But I think what we want to do is to provide a perspective. And I think for both of us, the perspective that we can bring, number one, is that it's a biblical perspective. And on the other side, also perspective from, you know, being on two different sides in terms of, you know, our race, this, you know, you being, you know, my best friend, being someone that I love, I respect, and someone that I value, you know, and so how, you know, what is it about us, or what is it about, you know, our relationship, or maybe even just, you know what, you know, this setting, you know, that gives us a reason to talk. I believe our different upbringing, our different background, our different way of doing things, I mean, just the difference that, you know, we have as people allow us to be able to bring two different perspectives and see each other past our skin color and past, you know, the problems and maybe even our different theological, you know, mind views and things like that. So I think it's important for us to do that. Maybe, I don't know if you want to start just in terms of maybe giving a background of your encounter with I wouldn't even say like racism, but I mean your encounter with people of my sort of, I would say, like, you know, my skin color. You know, because I think what we don't want to do right now is to make it about race, because really it is an issue about race, but also more importantly, it's an issue about injustice. And I think this is what we really want to hone in on, is the injustice that happens at different levels. So maybe, I don't know, you can take the words and then we'll just kind of flow with the flow, make a roll.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think a few things just from what you were just saying there. There's just a couple of things that came to mind immediately. I mean, you asked the question, like, how are we able to have a conversation, you know, rather than just kind of like get angry or shout or just get more entrenched in our own viewpoint. And I think basically every conversation or every discussion around a difficult or a volatile topic can only happen well when you love one another. And I think that's got to be the root of it. You see, so I mean, you and I, we've talked about loads of things over the years that, like, I know if I talked to other people about those things, they would get angry with me, or they would have, you know, like, they would have reacted well. And in the same way, like, I've shared with you and you shared with me, like, some of the deepest, like, struggles of sins in our lives and the things that, you know, that we've had to walk through. And I kind of feel like if I'd shared them with some people, they would have judged me. They would have, like, you know, I don't want anything to do with Nathanael anymore. But, like, I know with you that I can be totally vulnerable and totally honest and still be loved, you know. And I think that every, you know, if we're going to work through, if the church is going to work through difficult conversations, and if we're really going to have an answer to some of the issues in the world, we've got to start being able to talk openly and honestly, respectfully, obviously, but not coming from a viewpoint of, I'm going to back up my opinion and against your opinion, but actually, I want to hear your heart. I want to hear what's really going on in your life. And so for me, I think the foundation of any discussion has got to be, like, does this person love me? You know, does this person really have my interest at heart, or do they just want to push me to believe what they believe? And I think that's the big thing. And I mean, the other thing is, I would say, just for the purpose of this video, but I won't use the word race. I'll use the word ethnicity. because to me there's one race, there's one human race, we're one people. But but we recognize that we're ethnically different, and for me that's something to celebrate, but so you asked the question about my experience growing up. So obviously, like you, I grew up in South London, and that's my home. That's where my
the universe.
Center of the universe, Croydon. It's all about Croydon. Obviously, like growing up in Croydon, Croydon was an ethnically mixed place, and
Still is.
and is, maybe much more so than many, like definitely from the rest of the UK, or a lot of the places in the UK, so and I think for me that was always something that I loved. It was always something that I enjoyed. Our church growing up was like really mixed, and it was probably quite unusual for its time, I think. I'm sure there are lots of other churches like that, but it wasn't the norm. It wasn't that normal to have such a mix of cultures and peoples. And I remember one Sunday, they asked people to stand up and say praise the Lord in different languages, and it just went on and on and on. You had all these people from all over the world, and for me that brought a sense of, if I can say, pride in the right way. Like, I'm part of this. This is who I'm part of. I'm not part of like segregation. I'm part of a group of people who, no matter our ethnicity, no matter our background or whatever, we love Jesus and we are united, and I think that was something that I loved growing up. But I think there was definitely tensions, even in myself growing up. Like, so I never sort of chose people of my own color to hang around with or whatever. Like, that was never an issue in my mind. So it wasn't an issue right up until my sort of mid-teenage years, like 13, 14, going on from there. Right. Because 3 occasions in Croydon, being like mugged, chased, like threatened by a group of black youths. That never happened to me by a group of white youths. Now, that's not to say there wasn't groups of white youths that did exactly the same thing. Of course, there was. But my experience was always a group of black youths. I remember one time I was just walking down towards the church from West Croydon. Got off the bus and I was walking down towards the church. And as I'm walking down the road, like, I'm just aware that there's someone behind me. And I turn around and there's like 4 or 5 guys who've been hiding in the bushes that have come out behind me, have followed me down the road, and they're walking fast towards me. So I start walking faster, and I can feel them like walking faster. So by the end, I'm running like as fast as I can. And these guys are chasing me down the street. And I'm like, what have I done? So I'm like running for my life at this point. Like, and I don't know, like, what I can do. Like, that happened.
Sure. I hear you. Yeah. Absolutely. That's an experience that you have. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so what happened within me, like growing up as a teenager, if I was walking along the street and I saw a group of like young black guys, there was a fear inside of me. There was a like, whoa, is there going to be trouble?
With defense, you almost, to protect your own.
Because that was my experience. That happened to me. Another time I'm standing outside, McDonald's with my bike, and some guy comes along and says, "Give me your bike." And I was there with a couple of friends, and I'm like, "No, I'm not giving you my bike." And he said, "I'm going to stab you if you don't give me your bike." Blah blah blah. And like, I ran into McDonald's and like called for help or whatever, and eventually they just like walked off and that. But like, I was, someone threatened to stab me in my town, in my high street, and it was a young black guy with 3 other young black guys with him. And so, to me, it's still this kind of like, be careful, be careful. These guys are trouble, But that didn't translate into my own friendships or relationships. So for example, like, my friendship group were largely black, and I didn't have any grudge to them, or I didn't have any attitude towards them or whatever. So it didn't cause me to sort of see black young men as all trouble.
Sure.
If I knew them, it wasn't a problem. But if it was a stranger there was like a, whoa, just be careful.
Yeah.
And that has not informed my attitude on people of color. Do you know what I mean? It's like that hasn't changed me. But
right now, to cut you, your work evolves around people of my ethnic group. You spend, I would say, more time in Africa than I do.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love it. And
I would say, you're the most African white man I've ever come across.
And I wear that badge with pride. I'm quite happy with that. That's all right.
And it's amazing because I think with your experience is different.
Yeah.
From my experience, because growing up in the same town, I grew up in Croydon, of course, in the same era, and we still live in Croydon. I was almost threatened by police. I remember a time when I was maybe 14, 15, coming from a stereo shop, those places that sold stereos. I bought a stereo on my way back home. I think I had like a hood, but I don't think I had put the hood on my head. So walking down home, all of a sudden, I saw a van of police pull up right in front of me, 5, 6 police guys, literally surround me. Why? I had this stereo in my hand. They said, "Where did you get that? Why are you carrying that? Is that yours?" And so literally, I almost felt threatened, with they said, we're going to take your name. And if we found out that this stereo has been stolen, we're going to charge you. But I'm like, hold on a minute. This is something that I bought with my own money. I didn't do anything to anyone. I don't think I was threatening, but just the fact that I was a black person living in Croydon, almost it drew this attention that, I was a thief, And on the other side, not only in this country, I would say, I've also faced it, I would say even in America. As a matter of fact, I lived for a shorter while in America, driving a car in South Carolina. We were pulled by the police. And the only thing the only reason we got away with it, to be honest with you, is because I had a British driver's license, And so, like, to be honest with you, I didn't know what was happening in America, but because I had a British driver's license, the guy said, I'm going to warn you. I'm going to warn you. I want to keep an eye on you. I'm like, okay, wow. To be honest with you, I was threatened.
What was he stopping you for?
So I think I was driving, and there was a couple of other, guys of my color, in the back, and he was parked on the side of a motorway. And as we were driving, I believe it was from from South Carolina going to Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. And he was just parked. I think he saw us. He came after us. And I don't even think that we were driving like at a high speed or anything like that. So I think it was just more in terms of, okay, there are 3 black guys in a car. Nice car. Why they're driving? Let's ask. Let's find out why they're driving. And so I think the experience. We can't say that racism doesn't exist in our day, because the truth of the matter, racism does exist in our day, and it's expressed in different ways, and in different countries it's expressed in different ways. But it's a problem that we have, in our world today. And I think this situation that has come up with George Floyd in America has just almost, to be honest with you, has brought to light, some of the things that we have almost, I would just say, painted over. We haven't dealt with the situations that are underneath. We haven't dealt with the injustice that are underneath. We haven't dealt with some of the problems that we really should be talking about. We've just painted over them, put a plaster over them, and say, oh yeah, I think, now everything is fine. But the truth of the matter, it's not. Why? Now we see this thing that has come up. It has brought so much emotion. People are angry. People are hurt. People are wounded. And so I think, these conversations need to be had. And I think it's important that we need to hear each other's perspective, and what can we do to be able to be a solution and be an answer, instead of actually adding to the problem that's already prevalent in our time.
Yeah. So it's interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, absolutely, racism is a massive issue. It's a massive issue, and it has been a massive issue for many, many years. Like since the world began. Like it's been there. And I see what's going on. I see the video that guy, you know, like, and you just think, oh my gosh, like, and like it hits you, and you're just like, that's wicked, that's terrible that someone was treated that way, you know, and it looks like, you know, the police officers are going to face, you know, they're going to face a court trial, and we'll see what comes from that. I guess, like, this might be really controversial for some people, but
Sure.
you know, this is a question that some people have asked, so I'll throw it to you. It's like, what do you say? Because, like, some people would say it's an assumption that was racist, because, you know, basically to say that something is racist is to judge the motivation of the person's heart who did the thing. Like, I can look at it, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I can look at it and I can say, to me, that looks like a racist act. You know, like, it looks like that police officer did that because he was black. But I don't know that. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't know that as a fact. And I can totally understand how people have responded as like, here we go again, because it's not a unique situation. It has happened, you know, again and again. And it feeds into that issue. It feeds into that problem. But what would you say to that? Because, like, if somebody said to you, but how do you know it was racist?
Well, I think because of the trend. And we've seen, it's a trend that has, in America, you know, to be specific, that has happened over and over again, you know. And to be honest with you, and it's not even only the fact that it was a black man that was being treated that way, but check this out, it is a human
being, yeah.
Whether that was a Chinese man, a Caucasian guy, it's not right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, not right. And the hurtful part about it is to be able to see other police guys around the killing, and they say nothing, and not even, you know, prevent the person that was basically, you know, hurting the victim and making the victim suffer. Yeah. So for me, I would say it's the trend, it's the pattern that has happened over and over and over again. You know, the truth of the matter, I have never seen, and I've never seen a picture of a black, I don't want to, and I really want to be careful how I say this. Because I understand, you know, what this could actually flare up, you know, you know, controversy. But what I'm saying, I haven't seen a picture of a black police guy, you know, maltreating or mistreating a white, they say maybe a person that they went to arrest. You know, or pictures like that come to light, or even advertised or put on TV. We haven't seen that, but we've seen a picture of, you know, I would say our Caucasian brothers, you know, you know, police officers that treat black people in such a way. And so for me, that informs me already. This is, you know what, it's a system. It's a system. This is the way the system has been set up. Once, we can understand. Twice, you begin to question. 3 times, now when you begin to see this over and over again, I mean, we have so many cases. I mean, the cases are countless, Nathanael. The cases at the moment are countless. In America, how many people of color have been killed or have been mistreated by, you know, officials, by police? There's so many of it. So the only thing that only informs me why there was racism is because of the pattern that has happened so long. You know what I'm saying? So I think that would be my answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I think for me, I think one thing we have to be able, if we're going to have mature conversations, we have to let a court decide. You know, like, because what we do is we jump to the court of popular opinion. So no, hold on. So we jump to the court of popular opinion. So it's like, yeah, I think it is, therefore it is. It's like, no, hold on. We have to let, you know, there's due process. Let due process work its case, and they'll decide. You know, they'll try and work that out.
But what if the system, the law system, you know, gives priority to one and debases the other, and abases the other?
Yeah, sure.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, how can we ensure that is actually fair trial?
Yeah,
because that is not, you know. So for me, I'm like, you know what? Yes, in the normal case, that's okay. We would allow the court, and we would allow the legal system of the country to determine, you know, whether a person was guilty or you know, or not. But the truth of the matter, in a place maybe even like America, and I would even say, you know what, in this country, you know, the system, the system, there must be something in the system that prioritizes one color people, and the base is the other. I think that for me will be my defense.
I think you may be right. I'd need to like examine evidence to come to that conclusion.
But history, for me, I would say, you know what, we are looking at a history of a systematic injustice. Literally.
Yes.
Over and over again. And I think, you know what, we understand that, you know, you say, you know the fruit by its root. And we have seen that most of these trials or most of these injustice, people that have committed this injustice have never really been brought to justice.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think one of the reasons people are have had enough in our time, have had enough of what's happening at the moment, is because it's happened over and over again, and no one has been brought to justice. And right now, people are saying, you know what, enough is enough. Something needs to be done. And I think this is the outcry of, people in now. And this is it doesn't only affect, I would say, people of color. It affects everyone, because everyone, even people that are not of color, are speaking about it. Says, you know what, no, this is injustice. This is not right. And so we can't talk for America, but the UK, would we say that the UK is better off? Yes, I would say, you know what, to a certain extent, we have it better than other places in the world. But would I say that the system is always fair? I'm not sure, and I can't tell you 100% that the system that the system in the UK is fair.
I just don't feel qualified to comment on that. I think that's what I just don't know enough. And I think we would have to really talk to people who understand the system and really know it well enough to be able to get a clear.
But also on the other side, I think if you look at the percentage, and I can't give you figures, but this is it's a common knowledge that more black people, youth, get convicted more than any other, I would say, people group. And I think with that, now there could be a lot of factors to that. There could be factors, I don't know. I don't know. I really can't talk.
I think that's the danger, isn't it? So that, right. So we could say, okay, that's true, right? Why? So what you mustn't do is assume it's because the system is racist. You have to, it could be that, but you have to ask the question, why? Why are more black youths incarcerated than white youths? Like, why? It's the right question to ask, but you can't assume an answer. You have to investigate that and come to a conclusion based on evidence, not just on like, it's because they don't like black people. You're like, what leads to that? Is it that black youths are more likely to commit crime? Maybe.
Okay. But then also this also raises the question: why are more black people or black youth are more likely to commit crimes?
Yes,
is it because the system? Check this out, and is that because maybe the system has made them to feel like they're not wanted? Sure. Is it maybe because the system has made them to feel, you know what, I have no right but to protest. I have no right but to act in a way that is disorderly. Why? Because even if I did right, the system doesn't work in my favor. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah. If you believe that, then that can be your justification for for that. But I suppose a question to you is, obviously you've talked about how growing up, like, you had those issues with the police and stuff like that. I mean, I've had issues.
I wasn't a bad kid, to be honest with you. I wasn't a bad kid. I'm just going to put it out there. I wasn't.
both of us were well behaved. Trust me, both of us were well behaved. No, mate, I understand that. Like, I remember, this is going back. This is so funny. Like, back at school, I remember there was some kid in our year who threatened one of my friends. So basically, at school, all my friends were like the black the black guys. That was the group that I hung around with, and they were my friends. Yeah. So my brothers. I was the white brother, but it's all good. So yeah. So so funny. Oh, praise God. Anyway, so we were all at school, and I remember there was one guy, I don't know if he was in our year or the year, I think it's probably the year above. He started fighting with one of the guys in my group. Yeah. So the next day, and I was good, I didn't get into trouble. I stayed out of trouble, but I was their friend. So the next day, my friends all came to school with baseball bats. So they had baseball bats, and one of them had a knife and all this stuff. And I was like, what are you doing? And they were like, no, we're not having it. If he's coming for us, we're going to take him down, whatever. Anyway, at the end of the day, we're going up into Croydon now, and Croydon is full of police. I don't know what, something had got out that there was going to be a fight or something. There are police everywhere. And suddenly all my friends are like, what are we going to do? We've got baseball bats in our bag. We've got this, we've got that, got that. So anyway, so they gave them all to me. Basically, I'm the one ended up I had this big long coat, yeah.
Oh wow!
Another baseball bat up this arm, and I'm walking like this. I took all the weapons home with me. Wow. Because
they're not going to approach you.
Because we knew that I looked like a straight-laced white guy.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Man. And because we knew, it wasn't it's 50-50 whether they'll challenge you or me. So we have to, this is part of the thing. We have to step back from our emotion, look at the reality, right? Is it true, right? Okay, so more young black men or get searched, let's just say stop and search, right? Sure. We know for a fact, more young black men than white men, absolutely, without a doubt. Okay. Are young black men more likely to carry knives than young white men? I don't know. I'm not a police officer. I have not looked at the statistics. If the police see that and think that's the case, who are they more likely to stop? That is going to happen. So you have to separate your emotive response to something from the facts. And look
but I also think, what you have to, even before you look at the statistics and you look at the facts, I think there's already a worldview, and there is a belief system that's already determining how people act. Example, if I was raised, just as an example, that I was told, you need to keep away from those kind of people. You need to keep away from, black people, because they're very dangerous. If I've learned that all my life and I grew up with that kind of mindset, and I become a police guy, even before I review the facts, even before I review the statistics, my decision will be informed by that belief system on behind of me that keeps telling me, when you see a black guy, he's a danger. You see a black person, they're a danger. Now, having said all of that, we have come into a point in the world where, to be honest with you, we can't not speak about these things anymore.
Absolutely.
We cannot hide that these things exist. Yeah. We cannot hide the fact that, this is affecting so many people now, not only in America, I guess in the UK, and also, to be honest with you, I have family that live in Belgium. In Belgium, racism is rampant, But having said that, how do we move on? How do we find begin to find answers and not be part of the problem? Now we understand that we can't solve everything, but each person can do something. I'm going to ask you that question. What do you think the solution is? What can we do as individuals? Now, we might not be, working in as lawyers or working in legal systems and working in the legal structure of countries, but as human beings, as normal, common people, what can we do to begin to see a change and to influence change and to bring about positive change in regards to these kind of issues?